Hello and a very warm welcome to Science Monitor, your weekly update on what's happening in the field of science, technology and innovation in and around the country. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor with you. From the budget allocations for science and technology to the science tour of a research lab exploring different aspects of aging, we have plenty in store for you. So let us begin with the headlines. Defence Expo 2020 organised in Lucknow. Indigenous defence products and technologies demonstrated by Defence Research and Development Organisation. Budget 2020 emphasises on the development of quantum technology and knowledge-based entrepreneurship to bring S&T research to the market. Second phase of the exhibition Digital Gandhi-Gyan launched, effort to preserve and showcase history using high-tech technologies. And in Science Tour, we will see how Indian researchers are working to reduce the problems of the old age at the Indian Institute of Science, Bengaluru. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the 11th Defence Expo organised recently in Lucknow. The biennial mega event organised by the Ministry of Defence saw more than 500 defence products with over 1,000 exhibitors from India and abroad. The biggest ever Defence Expo was also the apt place to demonstrate new war technologies and the indigenous defence products. Let's have a look at this report.
Organised under the main theme of India, the emerging defence manufacturing hub. The 11th Defence Expo provided the perfect platform for the Indian defence industry to showcase its capabilities and promote its export potential. The mega event, organised every 2 years by the Ministry of Defence, was inaugurated by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi on 5th of February in the capital city of Uttar Pradesh, Lucknow. The Defence Minister and the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh were also present on the occasion, along with the Chief of Defence Staff.
आज का ये अवसर भारत की रक्षा सुरक्षा की चिंता करने वालों के साथ साथ पूरे भारत के युवाओं के लिए भी एक बहुत बड़ा अवसर है। मेक इन इंडिया से भारत की सुरक्षा बढ़ेगी, वहीं डिफेंस सेक्टर में रोजगार के नए अवसर भी बनेंगे।
The inauguration was followed by some spectacular demos of different defense systems and products. The demos enthralled the audience with a powerful display of modern technologies. India's Defence Research and Development Organisation participated in the expo in a big way. The organisation displayed around 500 latest technologies and products, including anti-satellite missile ASAT.
DRDO has, over decades, has worked on number of defence-related technologies and products, have developed many of them indigenously and are getting into armed forces now. It is time now that number of industries are to be developed in the country, number of technologies to be transferred to the industry and make them produce for our armed forces and also export them a lot to various countries and a lot of foreign exchange for us.
Nearly 1,000 exhibitors, including many from abroad, participated in the biggest ever defence expo in the country. The event brought together the leading technologies in the defence sector under one roof and facilitated business-to-business interaction with the visiting foreign delegations and government-to-government meetings and signing of memoranda of understanding. Overall, the expo not only displayed the military might of India, but also opened many avenues to accelerate the defense manufacturing capabilities of the nation. The event also focused on the digital transformation of the defense to arm the country with the futuristic defense technologies.
This year's Union Budget revealed the vision of the government pertaining to the advancements in science and technology. The budget has made provisions to promote knowledge-driven entrepreneurship and to bring lab-based research into the market. A provision has also been made to spend 8,000 crore rupees in the field of quantum technology in the next 5 years. Let's have a look at the report to know more about the key highlights of the budget pertaining to science and technology.
On 1st February, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman presented the Union Budget for the year 2020-21, in which several announcements were made for energy, power, science, information and technology. The most important one was the National Mission on Quantum Technologies and Applications, for which a budget of 8,000 crore has been allocated for a period of 5 years. Under this mission, the research in the field of next generation transformative technologies will get a major push.
Because innovation, startups, technology becomes very important for our young people. Our nation has a demographic dividend, which means a lot of young, energetic people, and we need to engage them fully. And this kind of budget is very healthy for us to expand in all the different directions. Also, in the budget announcement, there was a very positive announcement. This is about quantum technology mission. We are hopeful that we would also start the quantum technology mission, and that would further expand the budget in a very big way.
6,000 crore have been allocated for BharatNet program. This program aims to provide digital connectivity to all the public institutions like Gram Panchayats, health centers, Anganwadis, government schools, public distribution system, post offices and police stations. Provisions have also been made to establish a center to work in the field of intellectual property and innovation under Institute of Excellence. Also, knowledge translation clusters will be established for various technologies. The government will launch 2 national science schemes under which detailed databases will be prepared to cover mapping of India's generic drugs, agriculture and biodiversity management.
गवर्नमेंट बजट एक बहुत अच्छे कैटलिस्ट की तरह सामने आता है. इसकी वजह से हमारी जितनी भी इंटरनेशनल कोलैबोरेशंस हैं वो स्ट्रेंथन होंगी, और अगर हम ये अपना बजट आगे लाएंगे, वी आर होपफुल कि हम उतना ही इंटरनेशनल फंड्स भी मोबिलाइज कर पाएंगे टू टेक आवर रिसर्च फॉरवर्ड. तो ये एक हमारे लिए बहुत अच्छा है.
The Union Budget also made an allocation of rupees 22,000 crore for the power and renewable energy sector. Under the open acreage licensing policy, 1 lakh square kilometers of area has already been allocated to the private sector for oil and gas exploration. Expansion of the national gas grid from the present 16,200 km to 27,000 km has been proposed. The Department of Space has received more than 13,000 crore, displaying an increase of 8%.
To commemorate the 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi, a high-tech exhibition was launched by the Department of Science and Technology last year. On 30th of January, the second phase of the exhibition was launched, adding some new installations to the exhibition. The aim of this exhibition is to acquaint the younger generation with the life and philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi with the help of new age technologies. Let us see the report to know more.
The second phase of the digital Gandhi-Gyan exhibition was inaugurated on Mahatma Gandhi's Martyrdom Day on 30th January at Technology Bhavan in New Delhi. The first phase of the high-tech exhibition was launched on 2nd October last year by the Department of Science and Technology to commemorate the 150th birth anniversary of Gandhiji. The exhibition displays important aspects of Gandhiji's life by using new age technologies to interest and engage people from all walks of life, especially the children.
2 अक्टूबर को हमने शुरुआत की थी एग्जीबिशन की, जिसमें 2 एग्जिबिट्स आपने देखे थे. उसमें भी AR/VR इस्तेमाल हुआ था और एक मोबाइल ऐप लॉन्च की गई थी। उसी मोबाइल ऐप में अब हमने कुछ और आर्टिकल्स ऐड करे हैं तो कि इन्फॉर्मेशन जो गांधी जी की उनके आइडियाज़, मैसेजेस, लाइफस्टाइल, उन सभी डायमेंशंस पे वो ऐप कैप्चर करती है।
The second phase of the exhibition has added new VR and AR-based exhibits related to the life of the Mahatma, like the letters written by Gandhiji and the utensils used by him. Users can experience an augmented reality over the exhibits by downloading the digital Gandhi-Gyan app on their Android smartphones. The app displays all the information as soon as the object is scanned. Similarly, visitors can also see and experience different locations on the map of India that were visited by the Mahatma during his travels. There is also an installation of Sabarmati Ashram that includes a 3D fabricated physical model and an interactive virtual walkthrough of the ashram.
I went through the virtual reality Sabarmati Ashram just now, and I just became like a child. It was like actually going into the ashram, experiencing the tranquility that people must be witnessing at that time, absorbing the tranquility, and I could actually do it. If people have not been fortunate enough to actually go and visit Sabarmati, this is a very good opportunity to actually come here and just experience the ashram.
The exhibition is a unique way to preserve as well as to showcase the legacy of Mahatma Gandhi. The use of the new age technologies give a new dimension to the exhibits, and the users get an unforgettable experience by interacting with technology-driven installations.
It's time for a short break. Stay tuned to Rajya Sabha. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching Science Monitor. And now it is time to have a quick look at some other important developments happening in the field of science and technology through our segment, Science Express.
After becoming the first woman to spend 328 days in space on a single space flight, American astronaut Christina Koch returned to the Earth on Thursday. She was accompanied by the European Space Agency astronaut Luca Paramintano and Russian astronaut Alexander Skotsarevic. Koch carried out various scientific experiments and investigations during her stay at the International Space Station. During her record-establishing stay in space, Koch traveled 13.9 million kilometers, taking 5,248 revolutions of the Earth, and participated in 6 spacewalks. During these spacewalks, Christina spent 42 hours 15 minutes in the open space. Scientists have released the most detailed pictures of the Sun's surface ever taken. The images displaying the seemingly granular structure of the Sun's surface were taken by the National Science Foundation's Daniel Inouye Solar Telescope at Hawaii. Scientists have also released a movie taken by the telescope. According to the scientists, the grainy pattern on the Sun denotes the bubbling motions of the hot plasma. The scientists assume that each grain of plasma is bigger than a country like France. The distance between the Sun and the Earth is about 150 million kilometers, and the telescope can cover an area of about 30 kilometers of the Sun. The telescope will work with NASA's Parker Solar Probe, which is currently orbiting the Sun. Scientists at the University of Alaska Fairbanks have identified a new species of Thalattosaur, a marine reptile that lived in the ocean 200 million years ago. scientists found the fossil in southeast Alaska in 2011. The research has been published in the journal Scientific Reports. The new species is the most complete thalattosaur ever found in North America. Indian researchers have now developed a through-the-wall imaging radar on a chip smaller than a grain of rice. These radars can be used to track movements across any wall and can help the security forces to deal with emergencies. The radar has been prepared by scientists of the Department of Electronics of the Indian Institute of Science, Bengaluru. This radar technique can also be used in the fields like agriculture, health and transport.
The quick spread of newly detected coronavirus from China to the other parts of the world has become a matter of serious concern. Although all countries, including India, are taking immediate measures to check the spread of the virus, yet one question is bothering all. What is giving rise to such outbreaks in different parts of the world? To find out the possible answers, let us see our special report.
The regular outbreak of known and unknown viruses in different parts of the world has become a matter of grave concern in the past 2 decades. Such outbreaks not only increase the workload of the medical fraternity, but also lead to the loss of precious lives. Looking at the frequency of the outbreaks, one might assume that new viruses are emerging day by day. But according to the experts, new diagnostic facilities have helped in identifying the viral infections that went unidentified before.
The diagnostic abilities for viral infection has also increased. They were not that strong in especially developing world as what was 20 years ago. We were mainly focused on bacterial infection, and therefore there was presumption that the infection may be viral, but the definite diagnosis was not there. So now we are able to make a definite diagnosis because more and more virology labs and better techniques are available.
While on one hand, the advancements in medical science have led to the diagnosis of the viral infections, on the other hand, advancements in the domestic and international transport system has also led to the transfer of the viruses from one place to another.
We've had certain infections which have been restricted to areas, like for example, Ebola has been there for a long time. But if viral infection occurs in places, especially novel or new viral infection occurs in places where there is a lot of travel, could be because of business, because of tourism, that will spread rapidly, and that leads to an outbreak occurring globally, which can also lead to a pandemic.
Another reason giving rise to the new virus outbreaks is the rising population and the expanding settlement towards the forest areas, which increase the chances of viruses to jump from one species to another.
Viruses can jump species rapidly. This happens a lot where there is crowding of poultry, animals, especially wild animals, and humans in one area, which allows reassortment of the virus, that is mixing of the virus.
According to the experts, another important factor leading to such outbreaks is the global warming or climate change, which is creating conducive environment for the pathogens to grow.
So climate change and global warming has led to more infections. In areas where there is now change in the weather or change in the climate, various infections which were not seen in those areas because the climate was not conducive to these infections are being seen there.
On the whole, advances in science, the changing lifestyle of the humans, the environmental changes, and the basic biology of the viruses all lead to the emergence of such outbreaks. Although it is difficult to change our lifestyle in a day, yet being aware of these factors will help us to understand and contain the viral infections.
It is time again for a short break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be back soon.
On this edition of The Pulse, we'll talk about India's growing cancer burden, the factors leading to such an alarming increase in cancer cases, and what can be done to prevent and control the disease.
कुछ तो कैंसर होता है, कुछ लोग डरा देते हैं. educated women, or I should say popularity, they come forward, they talk about cancer, but people living in remote villages, they are reluctant, and they are very superstitious. They feel if they hear the word cancer, they will get cancer.
Lack of awareness, lack of screening facility and preventive strategy, that is the reason that it is increasing so alarmingly.
Lifestyle changes, alcohol, obesity, junk foods, infection in the form of HPV and tobacco and alcohol. This might be lead of the most common risk factor for cancer and increased incidence in India.
Everybody in this country, should involve in contributing towards prevention of cancer, creating awareness.
Fight the fight, then you should be cured.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching Science Monitor. Old age is accompanied by many problems. It not only reduces our physical and mental strength, but also makes us more vulnerable to diseases. And this leads to increased burden on the health services. Indian researchers at the Indian Institute of Science, Bengaluru, are studying every aspect related to the aging to make the problems of the old age less bothersome. Today, we'll take you on a science tour of a research lab to see how the researchers pursue their study and arrive at the results.
Old age, the last stage of the human life. The stage when our body refuses to follow our orders and sometimes even our own relations disown us. The burden of the old age is well known, and a look at the old age homes in the country makes it more evident. Here, the old people are dependent on the others for almost everything in their life. Ridden with disease, these people not only suffer from weak bodies but also from weak memory. But every living creature has to go through this stage. Then why only humans become a social liability? Can't we stop or prevent the process of aging? Or can we at least devise a way to decrease maladies associated with the old age? To find answers to many such questions, we have come to the lab of scientist Deepak Kumar Saini at the Indian Institute of Science, Bengaluru. Here, Professor Deepak Kumar and his team are working continuously to find different ways to reduce the impact of old age on our body.
So we're trying to understand aging at a very fundamental level, that why we get old, how we get old, what is the impact of aging in our human physiology, and also we are actually in the long term looking at developing agents or modalities. What I want to show you, this figure is very interesting figure. This is an old animal, and this old animal, what we have looked at, certain genes whose level go up. This is inflammation, it goes up, and this is a particular cell surface receptor which we identified in our studies, which also goes up in aging. We actually expose the animal to radiation, which is what all of us get exposed to. We see the identical readout. Inflammation goes up, aging signature goes up, our receptor goes up. Now you might ask, so what? What we did now, we took these aged animals or the irradiated animal and we treated them with certain drugs which we identified. With treatment of every one of them drug, the inflammation naturally comes down. The way DNA damage attacks our receptor, which increases inflammation, causes tissue injury, using these drugs we can actually suppress all those indices and improve the health span of the animal.
Looking for details, we reached the cell lab, where researchers are studying the human cells and tissues and the changes they undergo during the process of aging.
I usually work with HeLa cells, and what I'm trying to look at is how these cells sense the cues and how differently do young and old cells respond to these cues. So we're trying to understand why are there these differences between young and old cells, and once we find out the mechanism, why this happens, then we can possibly look at therapeutic interventions and see how we can rescue the old cells to a young phenotype or eliminate those cells so that the tissue is healthy.
The researchers found many reasons that accelerate the aging process, and one of them is inflammation. According to the researchers, the inflammation rises with the age and further accelerates the process. Here, the researchers are experimenting with hydrogen sulfide in order to reduce the inflammation.
So what I've seen is that during aging, the levels of H2S alters, and that alteration causes increase in inflammation. So what we are trying to do is, if we can use this molecule as a therapeutic molecule and in turn can suppress inflammation. So we do not claim that we will be able to suppress aging, but what we say is that maybe we are able to suppress the age-associated disorders or delay it.
The researchers have not arrived at any one solution to stop the onset of the senescence. Old age, yet they are trying to understand different factors that lead to the degeneration of the tissues and weakening of the senses. The researchers are hopeful that through their research, they will find clues to minimize the impact of old age disorders and devise a way to help the older generation to spend the last years of their life independently.
That is all in today's edition of Science Monitor. Do tell us how do you like our program. You can send your feedback and suggestions through email. Our email ID is news@vigyanprasar.gov.in. You can also write into us at Vigyan Prasar, 5th floor, Prithvi Bhavan, Lodhi Road, New Delhi, 110003. We'll meet you again next week with new informative stories on science, technology and innovation. Till then, stay tuned to Rajya Sabha TV and think scientifically. Bye-bye.